I'm Jeff Andrews, and today I'm going to be showing you a short how-to video on how to use Wheel Alignment Pro. It's an alignment app that helps you measure camber, caster, and toe, and it puts out a detailed alignment report when it's complete. Today I'll be demonstrating it on this 63 Thunderbird. One of the prerequisites of taking the alignment is that you have to drive the car about 20 feet straight ahead. If the steering wheel is slightly sideways, that's okay. What you don't want is to be forcing the steering wheel straight and having the car making a turn as you come to that stop. That will throw off the alignment results. Another important thing to remember is that when you're taking alignment readings on the car, the screen of the phone must be facing towards the rear of the vehicle. And you'll also notice another obstruction. Right where I parked the car, there's a balance weight right where you'd want to take a measurement. If this happens to you, don't worry. You can take the same measurement on the aft edge of the rim and it won't affect your alignment results at all, as long as the screen face is facing towards the rear of the vehicle. One of the initial setups of the alignment app is getting the tire size off your tires. The tire size you want to use is off the front tires. So you're going to want to record 215, 75, and 15. This is the width of the tire in millimeters, the height of the section width as a percentage of the width, and the radius of the rim. These three numbers will be plugged directly into the first screen of the app. When you first open the app, you'll be prompted to enter your tire size. In this case, we had 215, 75, 15. Continue to steering setup. It'll automatically calculate your tire height. This is important because it determines the difference between degrees and inches of toe for all measurements that are output at the end. This step is for setting the steering sweep angle. It's the total angle from turning the wheels all the way to the left and all the way to the right. Most vehicles are going to average about 62 degrees. If you don't know this, you can measure it and there's detailed instructions how. However, let's say it was really 70 and you chose the default value of 62. It'll only change your alignment results by a very small percentage. So most users can skip this step. This is where you set the sensor calibration on your phone. There's two areas to calibrate: pitch and roll. So you'll notice as you pitch it forward, you got 12 degrees, pitch it back, negative 12 degrees, roll it to the left, positive 7, roll it to the left, negative 8. You can calibrate these if you get a level and set it on the level and set it so that your level's perfectly level, and then when you hit the calibrate button, it will zero out that measurement. For most users, you don't need to worry about this. But if you're looking for really precise in-process measurements, you would want to calibrate those using a level. For users that want a more simplistic measurement of wheel alignment, you can skip the steering sweep angle and sensor calibration, and the values will be calculated at the end will be accurate. It's just the measurements that you see in process may have some errors, but they're compensated for at the end. So to skip those steps, enter your tire size, 215, 75, 15, and skip measurements, basic setup. This shows you the pros and cons of doing that. Continue. And then now you're going to get into taking the actual wheel alignment measurements. There's a diagram that shows you which wheel you should be measuring and how the phone should be held. The first set of measurements are going to be camber measurements, and I'm going to show you on the front right tire. I'm just going to skip this step for now and show you the front right camber measurement. That's where we're at on the vehicle now. An important thing to get right while taking measurements on the car is to make sure that the phone side buttons are not contacting the rim of the car. You also want to make sure that the body of the phone is not up on the tire. So in this case, the phone's buttons are clearing the wheel. There's a gap back here, and the phone's not up against the rim. This shows you the position of the car that you need to be taking measurements in. In this case, we're on the front right wheel. The screen of the phone is facing towards the rear of the vehicle. And then you're going to want to either move the phone up or down along the wheel here. It's hard to see when you're actually measuring it. That's why you have this indicator down here in red. You want to make sure that this is on the wheel until that number is in the green. You can see there it's less than 1 degree. Now I got the top of the phone against the rim, the bottom of the phone against the rim. It's not touching the tire. And I have a camber measurement of negative 0.8 degrees. Now, that's not a true camber measurement because you are in a driveway. There could be a slope to the driveway. But rest assured, after all the measurements are taken, the slope of the driveway is mathed out, and your actual results will vary slightly from this number depending on how much slope you have in the driveway. So once you're stabilized, you can select capture measurement. You're going to repeat this step for all 4 wheels. After you've located the far end of the tape measure on an identifiable piece of tread, have your assistant help you move the tape measure up and down on each end of the vehicle so that the tape measure is not contacting features under the car or dramatically sloped underneath the vehicle. Once you have it as high up as you can go on both sides without making contact with any parts of the car, hold a constant tension for taking measurement. When taking toe measurements, it's important to be consistent when taking measurements in the front of the tire and rear of the tire. There's several locations here that may be appropriate for taking your measurement, and it doesn't matter if you choose this edge of tread or that edge of tread, as long as you choose the same edge on each side of the tire. In this case, you can see we're at 65 5/8 of an inch. In our case, we just measured the front tires, the rear distance. We had 65 5/8 of an inch. So you'll enter the fraction, the whole number, 65 5/8. 5/8. If it was a little over 65 5/8, you might have to use the other half of the tape measure that gave 16ths. And even then, if it's not exactly on a 16th line, let's say it's halfway between 9/16 and 5/8, then you would insert 65 and 19/32. But in this case, it was simple for us, 65 5/8 of an inch. It calculates the decimal equivalent, and then you can go on to measuring the distance between the rear tires in the front. On our test vehicle, the tread was straight, so it was simple to get consistent readings. But on a lot of tires, if you have all-terrain tires, you'll notice a sawtooth shape. In this case, when you're hooking the tape measure, you don't want the tape measure hooked there or there. You want to make sure you're hooking on something that's repeatable on the front and rear sides of the tire and left and right sides of the car. In this case, we're going to choose this peak to hook the tape measure. For more accurate readings, you could also have your assistant hold the tape measure so that the 1 inch mark is right in line with the peak. But if you have a high quality tape measure, most of the time hooking it is accurate enough. And if you're ever worried about the consistency, you can always drive the car forward 5 feet and repeat the toe measurements. And if they're the same as they were before, you'll know that the tire was constructed with high enough accuracy to make this reading accurate. Now that we've finished measuring camber on all four wheels and toe, front and rear, the next measurement is caster. Caster measurements are taken just like camber measurements, except when the wheels turned all the way to the left and all the way to the right. So to start the front left camber measurement, we're going to start the car and then turn the wheel all the way to the left, let go of the steering wheel, and then shut the car off. For the caster measurements, it's important to make sure you're always taking the alignment readings off the correct wheel. At the top of each step, it'll tell you which wheel you should be working on. In this case, we're working on the front right caster, and you want to have the wheel turned to the left. So we have here front right wheel, wheel turned to the left. There's a picture showing you exactly what it should look like. Again, the screen's phone should always be facing towards the rear of the vehicle. And then at the bottom of the readings, we'll take a quick measurement here and capture it. All the same precautions apply. Tire can't be hitting the phone, and the buttons on the phone can't be hitting the rim. You'll rotate the phone until you have a green number down here, and then you can capture measurement. Thanks for watching this short video on how to use Alignment Pro and demonstrating it on the 63 Thunderbird. A couple things to watch for out at home is you want to make sure you're on as level of ground as possible. If you have a busted up driveway and one wheel is up on a piece of concrete, that will mess up your alignment results. But in general, for most generally sloped driveways, it will not affect your alignment results. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.